All right. Welcome to Where's Your Focus? My name is Asia Rain, and today we've got a very special meeting. We're showcasing Stephanie Victoria, and she is from Eden Sanctuary, the creator of the co-creator of Eden Sanctuary. And we've got some questions for her. She's got some information for us. And we just really appreciate you guys being here today. And if you have questions, there's ways to reach out to us. There's so many different practitioners and so many different subjects that we have historically been speaking about. This is just another really enhanced version of this. We're going to be focusing specifically on Stephanie and some things that she really wants to share with us and that we're actually very curious about. As we have this conversation, I'm sure we're going to delve into some really beautiful and maybe even unknown parts of things that might be new for you. Stephanie is actually an Akashic artist, and I just absolutely love that title because it actually just kind of encompasses so many things beyond the Akashic records. And so I would love, Stephanie, if you would just kind of launch off from that, let us know, tell me where did Akashic artists come from? That was so cool.
Spirit laid that on my heart about a week ago, and the moment that I heard it, I also felt it, and it felt good. That's it. Thank you. And thank you, Ada, for the beautiful words and the beautiful intro. I really appreciate you, and I appreciate you, Melissa. Thank you for being here, both of you ladies, for being on this journey with me today as we showcase my work and this beautiful space where I live and everything that has come to fruition through my journey over the past several years. It's been quite a ride. So I work in the Akashic records, and a lot of the work that I bring forward on the planet takes place in and through this space. And so for anybody who's watching who isn't familiar with the space of the Akash, this is a space of infinite wisdom and cosmic intelligence. You are innately guided by this space and have the ability to access this guidance and clarity and support. All of us do, every human does. And so my mission on the planet is to bring people back into alignment, to bring humanity, the collective, back into alignment with their gifts through the space of the Akash. I'm curious what questions any of you might have that I could ask, or you, Asia and Melissa. I'm with you here. We're just kind of flying by the seat of our beautiful trousers this morning as we explore this template for the show and the showcase itself. And I'm really excited to share. So light me up with questions. Anything that you want to know, I'm an open book.
I really love the way you describe the Akashic records. I think for me, it has been a little bit mystical and a mystery itself. I've been able to step into that space and not necessarily know that's where I was or that's what I was accessing. And so just being able to let others know in such a really precise definition that allows us to know that we have access to this, that this is a guiding thing, that it's not something that there's some kind of mystery thing that you have to perform to be able to gain it. It's more of the consciousness and personal awareness that opens you up into that. So maybe I would love to know how this, maybe a portion of the journey for you, because I know it's constantly developing. When you're in that space, it's not like, oh, now I've arrived. It just keeps kind of building and you keep expanding more and more into it, which is the absolute beauty of spiritual expansion and personal ascension and that kind of thing. So maybe for others that are like, yeah, I've heard of this, or yeah, I've done this a few times, but what is it that you're talking about here fully? Like, I'm sensing it, but I'm not necessarily understanding. I'd love you to kind of tune in and talk specifically or directly with what's coming through you that people may need to hear specifically from you.
Are you meaning from the Akashic records, as in the way that I step into this space, how I teach it? Reframe that for me a little bit, because I want to make sure I understand question.
No. I'm not necessarily asking you to do start it channeling that. What I'm curious about is what was your journey in getting where you are now?
Like, how did they find me?
Yeah.
How did I come to learn this, and what did this all mean?
Yes.
I love that question. I really do. Thank you. It started for me in the realm of cellular health. And this is part and parcel to everything that I teach. I teach the cell to soul connection. I teach that very deeply ingrained facet of our design, whereby we are connected at a cellular level to the celestial realm. And a lot of people don't understand this aspect of the work, which is exciting for me because it's what I bring forward. It is the clarity that I bring forward. And it's the idea that truly, as we bring the human body online, as we cleanse it and give it the attention that it needs to run in its highest level of efficacy, we are thereby connecting ourselves to the spiritual realm. As we remove the toxins, as we clear out that buffer that stands between our unique divine essence and the way we express it, which is that toxicity, that is the buffer, right? It starts to reveal to us deeper facets of our own being, our own gifts. The way that our intuition really and truly works starts to come online in new ways. And that's how it happened for me. I started my journey truly in cellular health with zero awareness of the spiritual realm, with zero conscious awareness of the design of the human body. And I was on a journey of discovering ways to, frankly, just feel better. Not feeling good. I was not feeling good in my human. I was 20 plus years chronically ill. And I'm talking like events that would take place for 2 to 3 weeks and have me horizontal and barely functioning. And these events would take place at least quarterly with every season change of the year, some years. And when that kind of a weight is placed on your expression, when you are not functioning as a human being and you really are just like looking for ways to feel whole, it seems like the spiritual realm was so far away at that point. It did for me. And I know that the case may be true for others where they're very much in tune to the spiritual realm and still feeling unwell. And I am here as a messenger today to tell you that what is capable for you inside the spiritual realm, as you align your body and release that toxicity and begin to feel better, you have only just begun to scratch the surface. So for me, it was very much shut off. The spiritual realm was very much shut off. And I was very much in my human and just not feeling good. And on that journey, on that trajectory of seeking answers, really coming into a deeper knowing of cellular health and what it means to cleanse, and coming across some really advanced technologies in cellular health and use them for a good while, and began to, synchronistically come across new things and unlock new truths and learn more about myself and my body and the way it was functioning. And the entire experience started to come online in a way that I had never experienced before. And things started to happen in my reality that were, for all intents and purposes, unbelievable. Things that people wouldn't believe were true. Oh, you're just making that up. That's a crazy scenario. What are you talking about? And it was these wild synchronicities where things were coming together in such a reflection for me that I could no longer deny it. And it was like, what is happening here? I'm feeling good now. My body is cleansed. I was going through all of these, different processes and protocols that I was creating for myself, and fasting and eating clean food, and, starting on that path of, wow, I really feel good now. I feel completely different. And at the same time, seeing the reality that was reflected back to me being filled with so much magic, so much synchronicity. And it started to open up for me in a way that invited new experiences in the spiritual realm. And one of them was my mother coming to visit me before leaving body before transitioning over, before passing away, as we would call it. She didn't pass away. She passed right into the spiritual realm and into deep and contiguous connection with me day by day. And it opened up for me this deep knowing of the truth of energy, and everything is energy and everything is frequency and vibration, and how much differently I began to perceive my reality through that event. That's about the time the records found me.
No
It's the
kidding.
time the records found me. It happened all at the same time. I had been through this, cellular health awakening of, toxins and what's really clean, what's really good for you and what isn't. And oh my gosh, the system is, got us set up to fail. And that's a whole different show for a different day. But the cellular health aspect happened for that reason in my journey, to bring me into awareness of that connection between the cellular and the celestial. And at the same time as I was coming into what was, the new biggest healing event in my life, where I was really feeling good, doing things I'd never done before, that spiritual aspect started coming in. The events started happening, the synchronicity started unfolding, and my mom made a visit to me around that same time. And it was like the eye-opening event that had me just rocked back on my heels going, oh my gosh, this is real. Oh my gosh, this is real. The spiritual realm, that everything is energy and everything is connected. And I'm experiencing this now because I'm in a higher vibrational state, one that I wasn't in before. I wasn't able to receive. I wasn't open. I was shut down to my environment. Like, it brings tears to my eyes. Just that soul contract between she and I, and the way that everything unfolded. And it was about that time that the records tapped me on the shoulder. And it was through another unfolding of synchronicity that I came across my beautiful mentor in the records, Emily Harrison. She runs the Akashic Academy. And that just, the journey with her into the space and the learning of this esoteric wisdom brought me on a trajectory of further distilling this wisdom through my relationship with spirit, coming into an even deeper knowing of my gifts through this space and through the trajectory that it opened me up into. And it happened simultaneously, I will say. It wasn't necessarily all on the same day at the same exact time, but everything came in to find its connected place within the experience that I was having. And it was so very visceral, this unfolding and realization that, yes, I was stepping into my gifts at this time in my journey because of the cellular health trajectory that I had been on, and that maybe, for lack of a better word, it amplified it, right? And I start playing with this idea of cellular health amplifying the work that we do in the spiritual realm. And after a couple of years of being in the space of the records, and not only serving myself, but serving others in the space and assisting others on that journey of coming into the knowing that they are connected to this realm and have access to this space, that it is limitless, and that the guidance that we find there is, man, it's unequivocal. That knowing just has stuck with me to this very day. And it has become very much woven into every element and facet of what I teach.
It feels like, with that comment, how descriptive that is, how integral our own cellular development, just the way the body even works itself, is also being reflected in the spiritual, so that your preparation in one aspect open to another, and then you spend a couple of years in that practice to really start coming more and more into what that growth has come to and where you are right now, and what you've been receiving and developing with Eden Sanctuary, and what that is and how amazing that is. So before we go into Eden Sanctuary, I'd actually like to, Melissa, do you have any questions that you want to jump in here, and like inspirations or something that Stephanie has been kind of, like lighting up for you?
Well, Stephanie said a lot that honestly I see in the beginning of my own journey. Like just the little synchronicities that you're like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. But then you're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. And it's almost like, for myself, it takes a little bit of extra time because it's not that I don't want to believe it. It's just I'm so pre-programmed to not believe it. And that's why I like this community. And that's why in my head, I have a bazillion questions for you, Stephanie. And I want to come visit. I want to know everything you have to offer. But I guess for those who are really starting out, where do we get our hands on information? Like, I know there's a lot that will come in through meditation, but is there any other options for those who are looking for, like, you say records come to you. Well, what is that? What are records? What are these? Like, I just have so many more questions the more you say what you've been doing.
Okay. So the Akashic records, to clarify and just to like sweep over, it's a deep space, it's infinite, it's limitless, right? But to give you a capture of what this really means, what we're talking about when we talk about accessing the space of the records is accessing that dimension of consciousness where limitless possibility exists, where the energetic receipts of all creation exist, and specifically your record, okay? Because your record houses the energetic receipts of your entire soul journey. So we're talking past, everything that has already taken place in your soul journey from the beginning of your split in energetic expression from source to now. And now, meaning also present time and infinite possible futures, because, well, not to be like, a mind bender or anything, but it's all taking place right now in this moment, right? So all past, present, and infinite possible futures are housed within the space.
Okay.
So you are tapping into this realm, this dimension, this space of consciousness, all the same thing. Let's be clear. When people say, oh, I accessed a different dimension, it's a different space of consciousness, a different realm of consciousness, okay? You're stepping into and accessing that space that is unique to you. It is your unique divine essence, your blueprint, your data, your soul intelligence. And thereby accessing the space, you are in a position to seek clarity, to seek guidance, to seek wisdom, and be given that clarity, guidance, and wisdom. Now, again, it's limitless, right? It's a limitless space with infinite possibility. So when we create a question, for instance, we'll just put it in simple terms. We're going to come up with a question. We're going to ask something of the records of my, like, say I'm opening my record and I'm going to ask for clarity and guidance around, something that's taking place in the future for me and how to bring myself into it. I'm going to be very, very specific. I'm going to be very specific with my question because this is a space of vibrational resonance and data match. So if I ask a vague question, I'm going to get a vague answer. As specific and intentional and focused as we are, that comes through matches it. So it's great to be intentional and focused and really specific with your questions.
Good. Okay.
And I want to also be really clear because this has been a big element and facet of what I do. I eat, breathe, sleep, live the records, my space. My own channel of communication is well traveled. And it's that continued communication, that open channel of communication that keeps us in constant connection, open to constantly receiving and living in the vibration of our highest timeline. You're in your purest soul energy when you're in the space of your record. So coming into the space to do spiritual work, yes, 100%, 100,000%. Coming into the space to create, bring forward new medicine, craft a workshop, do your work, yes, 100%, 100,000%, right? Because when we have this foundational understanding of the records and what they are and the esoteric wisdom of this modality, you shift into the perspective of seeing everything that you do in the space, everything that you step into the space and clarity guidance around is healing you. Healing you, it's healing the collective, whether it's your own personal spiritual journey, your own relationships and the elements of your life, be it financial, family, friend, like whatever it is, right? That is healing you. And working on your message and working on your mission and bringing forward new programs and systems is healing you too, and healing the collective. So again, space of infinite possibility in its broad spectrum. There's so much that we can do in this space.
Love that. That's beautiful.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So jumping off of that explanation, which was incredibly beautiful and accurate, informative, it seems that you have in that healing space been able to bring in something called Eden Sanctuary, or become aware of and create with Eden Sanctuary. I have been fortunate enough to visit and be there, and I'm getting goosebumps already just remembering that. It was such a beautiful week to spend with you. That would be something I would love for you to share with us. Tell us a little bit about what that is and anything you want to tell about that, how it became or where it's going, all of that.
Eden Sanctuary. Ah, it's getting me emotional. I'm feeling it moving.
Yeah.
This place, and I love the way that you said, Asia, not so much created it, but became aware of it and co-created with it.
Mm-hmm.
This land, this space where we are, it's been in my husband's family for quite some time. This was a piece of land that is very familiar to he and I. And it's funny. We always saw ourselves leaving Missouri. We saw ourselves packing up and going someplace else, right? We have this vision, always did have this vision of, creating something together and it being really big and really powerful and potent and healing for not only ourselves, but for everyone who we touch and anyone who would visit us in this place. And he and I have both been rubber band children. Leave and come back, leave and come back. And it wasn't until this past year that I came to the stark realization that I was not rubber banding. I was full blown in denial of my call to stay and my call to heal myself and this place, this land. It wasn't that I kept trying to get away and couldn't. It was that I really was called to be here and to put down roots. And the end of last year, it came into our awareness that this land might transition out of the family, and some things happened that, had us in the perspective of this isn't for us. We're still leaving Missouri. We're still going to go. And one thing after another, synchronicity came in and possibility and opportunity came in And these reframes happened in both of our perspectives that brought us to a united decision that we're meant to be here. We're very much meant to be here, and this land is meant to be in our stewardship. And I'll be honest, you know what, it's going to be very healing for me to say this out loud. I came into this kicking and screaming, because we had made a decision that this was not going to be something that would be feasible, you know, at that time, at that point in our timeline and the unfolding of our lives together. It was not possible. And we made the decision, no. So when it came back around again, and a lot of things had realigned, and we, you know, we're bringing ourselves into seeing this through a new lens with new opportunities and new unfoldings and new possibilities, right? It was like, oh, I've already made the decision. I already said no. So I did. I came in kicking and screaming. And it was through my own breakdown and breakthrough, and through the work that I do and my call back to soul to really take that deeper look of, okay, spirit, you're guiding this. And yes, my human mind made a decision, and now we're coming back to the place of revisiting and re-exploring the possibilities. And it was very, very clear to me that the answer was yes. And it was yes for me, and it was yes for spirit, and it was yes for Joe, and it was yes for this land and for the people here and for anyone who would travel to this place to be touched by it. And I will tell you, the moment I said yes, it feels like the moment, like the instant. Things started unfolding in our reality here that to this day, I can't explain. A piece of property that's been in the family for 30 plus years. Is it almost 40? I would have to do the math, and I'm not mathing right now. People have been walking across these creek beds, through the trails of these wooded forests. And now all of a sudden we're finding crystals. Beautiful, beautiful crystals in the creek beds. Fruit-giving trees that have just never been, you know, noticed, or maybe they just weren't looked for. So much about this land and this place has been showing itself to us. And it's absolutely beautiful what's happening here, and the way that it's meshing with the work that I do, and the Akashic records and infinite possibility, and the idea of expressing the soul blueprint, right? So that brings me to this awareness and understanding of the way that Mother Earth expresses her soul blueprint as well. When we nurture the land, when we are in our full expression and in our, I don't even know what to call it, like when we're sitting in our own medicine, in this place of acknowledging our path and our purpose, and we're sharing that, and that ripple is happening. It's like she ripples right back to us and responds to us and initiates this open conversation whereby we are discovering and exploring her in new ways as well. So what is Eden? Eden is a healing space designed to call forward the medicine and mission of others on the planet, allow them into a deep embodiment of their own gifts through Mother Earth. She has so much to give, and the medicine that she's offering us here, and the way that this place, these woods, this land, just wraps its arms around you. I know Asia can speak a little bit to this, having been here. It's potent medicine. So we're running workshops here. We're inviting others into ceremony here, you know, sharing beautiful plant medicine, cacao, immersions, and deep spiritual experiences. And it is truly cultivating itself. It's bringing so much forward through me. This land and the way that it speaks to me is really activating me in a way that is, it has amplified my own creativity and my own spiritual track. Just being here and living in this energy and co-creating with spirit through this land. It's like I strap myself to another spiritual rocket, sort of. It reminds me of the spiritual rocket I strapped myself to in the very beginning when the records found me. When I learned about this esoteric wisdom's modality, it felt like shooting out of a spiritual rocket and everything happening so fast and things changing and coming into the awareness of my gifts in new ways. And I very much feel like having landed in this space and creating what we're creating now on a bigger scale for others, inviting people in to ceremony and workshop and, you know, immersive experiences. It's that same spiritual rocket all over again. It really is. I'm excited to welcome others aboard.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think I like how you're saying that. There's not a single passenger seat here. You're welcoming others. There's an entire vessel that is being built that, well, actually you just kind of sailed up. You experienced, you stepped on, you invited me and my daughter and gosh, a couple of other people, like in our experience. You've also invited others to step on and to be there. And I'm, if you want to share what your perception of what you've noticed as people have come to visit as this is being developed, what feedback, I mean, what are you noticing about that with other people? And maybe if there's one particular thing that has kind of surprised you, maybe you could share that with us.
The way that people, it's really interesting to me. I appreciate this question, so thank you. The way that people come into this space and the energy that they show up with, I don't want to say it's completely altered when they leave. I will say that there is a shift and a transition and a deeper expression that takes place. And I can see that reflected in others. It's really, really beautiful to be the host of a space like this. Mm-hmm. And to welcome people in and to, you know, dive deep, whether it's in ceremony or, you know, Asia, like when you were here, we were 5 nights in the woods, mm-hmm. fully immersed in Mother Earth for quite a while. And the transformation that takes place, you feel it along the way. You are witness to the revelations, to the epiphanies, and to the aha moments. I have been witness to release of mass proportions. Watching, for instance, people who have never experienced breath work before come in to work with Ryan Skaggs, who is a facilitator here at Eden. Ryan, actually, can we make a pit stop here?
Let's do this. This is important.
Yeah.
Make a pit stop here. We bought this property in April, and it was right about April that I met Ryan. And this was one of the synchronicities that showed itself to me through this land. And it was like, wow, okay, I see you. We were here. I was in conversation with Asia. We were, you know, sort of dreaming up all of the different spiritual events and deeper meaning and just calling forward synchronicities around this land and what was happening and the transition that was taking place in my life at that time. And I got a phone call from a friend just about a mile away as the crow flies here in the Midwest, down a little gravel road, my next door neighbor, right? I got a call from her and she said, hey, I've got a friend coming over today and her cousin we're going to do some breath work. You want to come? And I'm like knee deep in projects thinking there's so much to do. And that is exactly why I'm coming. I need to unplug. It's time for me to spend some time on me to really get back to soul and have an experience for myself. I've been nose to the grindstone for days. Time to unplug. So I take off and have an experience that day that rocked my world in ways I did not expect, and brought forward a lot of revelation for me around what was about to take place here. And even the name Eden, it came through on that day really solidly, really solidly. It was anchored in through that experience. And after the breath work, I can remember Ryan, before we started the breath work, saying, has everybody done breath work before? And I was the only one that had ever done breath work before, but not like this, not this kind of breath work. I had done like, search online on YouTube and do a little video and just good stuff, right? Like activating and very, very, that's the basic word. Like it felt activated. It didn't feel, to do it by myself with YouTube, did not feel held and supported. And I did not feel any kind of full release or expression. And that day there was a lot of release. It was very big for me. It was this experience of feeling in my body, energy moving in ways that I had never experienced before. And that energy coming out of me through vocal representation and movement in my body. And when it was all over, we did about an hour of breath work. It took me about 15 minutes to get the use of my body back. I had completely taken myself into a lobster clawed situation where I could not move my arms or my legs. I could barely sit up after the breath work. This is all normal. It takes a little while for the body to come back. This can be your experience. And I remember just kind of sitting there in like a lump, like a pile of human, because I couldn't really use my body yet. And just laughing and recapping the experience. And I looked at Ryan and I said, what are you doing in August? I said, there's this thing happening at Eden. And I didn't call it Eden that day. There's this thing happening at our property. And I'd love for you to come be part of it. And from that day, we started some Zoom conversations, Ryan and I, and it only took a couple. And he had this full awareness of the vision for this place. It had already kind of been coming in. It's much bigger now than it was. But even then, he got this sense of it, what we're doing, and the healing space that we're creating here, and the offering to the collective, and what that really means. And he said, I'm ready. You're ready? I said, well, I don't have anything to offer you, but you can come live in my bushes. And I'll be damned if that guy didn't sell his car, move out of his apartment, and move to Missouri from Wisconsin to live on property in his trailer. Yeah, what? Change your life just like that? Yeah, welcome. Welcome, because this is how it happens when we feel that call from spirit and respond immediately with that deep soul knowing. And so he was here for about a month and a half, living on property, assisting in vision here, and is still on property, often assisting in the hosting of retreats and immersive experiences. We have one coming up, not this weekend, but next, called Breathe. It's a breathe immersion whereby we fuse the Akashic records and breath work and take people on an immersive experience that takes place camp style in the woods for 2 nights. So if anyone is interested in this level of soul healing and transformation, I invite you. I'll come back to this video and drop some links for different workshops and containers, immersive experiences, things that I do inside and outside, so that you can have a look and explore the offering here. But yeah, that unfolding with Ryan spoke to me in a very deep way of what's possible through this land and through the work that we're doing, the work that he and I have been called to do together has now been amplified through the breathe immersions that we host here on the space. And it really is really, really beautiful. So I derailed into telling that story about how Ryan, shifted his timeline and completely changed his life to reflect a new reality. Wow.
Well, I'm going to jump in here and just say that sounds like a mirror to me of what it is that you went through. So it's almost like as if you set a template for not just yourself, and the land is responding. Suddenly there's like fruit bearing trees and other parts of that land that you're like, wait a minute, let's look over here, or let's walk this. And I didn't see that last time. And so there's kind of a synergy going on that way. And then Ryan is a really great example of a similar thing. So it sounds to me like there's a template there. I mean, I'm going to say that there's reflections of that in my life since I've come back from Eden, and how that is shifting for me. I had a thought and a vision of what this is going to look like in my life. And I mean, something as even massive, it was kind of in development, but really the deal got sealed 2 days after I got back from Eden. And it was a massive thing in my life. Like I never thought this would ever happen. And there it was. And then now I'm in the middle in the process of presenting and getting new offerings and restructuring what I thought my profession would look like. And now it's moving more and more into weavings. So I've had both. I've had restructure and change like immediately. And I've also had this gradual, you need to step into this more and more. And so I'm just like, my reflection there is like, wow, that stuff. I think this is part of what Eden does for those who step onto this land and work with you.
I appreciate you so much. That really is incredible. Absolutely incredible. That's really what I've experienced the most, I will say, through the connections with others who come here. Mm-hmm. And you, Asia, are a prime example as well. Really and truly, the way that the work that we do here ripples outward has shown itself to me in so many different ways, through you, through others, through the work that I'm doing, and so on and so forth. So yeah, you asked me, I'm trying to remember your original question.
I think this is growing organically, and I'm not too sure I even remember my original question either.
Like how I ended up in this space and doing this work. And it's been a mashup. It's been a spirit-led synchronicity mashup. It really has. Yeah. I see your gears grinding, Melissa.
Yeah, I see like so much. I see so much good that has come out of the journey that you've been on, but I can't help but wonder what have been the roadblocks that you've hit. Because with clients that I'm dealing with, if I feel like everybody who's coming to me, everyone who I'm attracting and I'm attracted to, we're all healers in some sort, but we're all just babies at it. We're all just asking the questions like, oh, can I really do this? Do I really do this? And there's a lot of fear. Mm-hmm. Coming from the beginner stance, what would be some advice, I guess, for those of us who can't make it to Missouri and can't make it to your workshops in your space? What would be, a tidbit of you saying, hey, focus on this or drop this or that sort of thing?
Thank you. It's right here.
Yeah.
This space right here. Come back to you. Come back to that inner knowing and the work, right? We talk about doing the work. Even with those clients who are coming to you in fear, I invite you to reframe your perception of that fear to one of activation.
Okay.
because what they're reflecting to you is an opportunity for you to see where you still have fear. That's your activator. We often call to us those who are reflecting what is within us, right? We can. That's possible. That's one of those mirror reflection possibilities, right? And it can also be an opportunity for us to see where we have grown.
Mhm.
As often as you invite someone into your field who will reflect to you what is within you, you will also invite someone into your field who can reflect to you what you have moved past. And an opportunity to really acknowledge that within yourself. We can see it both ways, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you still believe there's a little bit of fear in you, that's what you're going to see. And not but, and if you know there's a little bit of fear left in you ready to be released, you can see it that way too and thank them for their activation and allowing you to see what was still there to work on and call you back into deeper work so that you can embody it. Embody that release.
It comes right back to gratitude.
Yeah.
Right. Every time it comes right back to gratitude.
Yeah. There really is, well, frankly, there's so many magic tricks, right? There's so many aspects of working in the quantum field that I couldn't possibly just give you like one little solve all, right? It's not going to be a solve all. However, I will say that you cannot create a reality for yourself unless it aligns with what you're thinking and feeling. And the inspired action that you take aligns it. If the inspired action that you take aligns and calls forward into your reality what you're thinking and feeling, now you're creating. And that means thinking it and feeling it despite what the past tells you, despite what your environment tells you, and despite what time tells you, because in our processing mind, we go, but it's not right now, right? Whatever it is that you're creating, think it and feel it right now. And the inspired action that you take calls it into being. If what you're doing and the way that you're being is aligned with how you're thinking and feeling. And that's just like a skim the surface quantum 101, right?
That's an excellent introduction because I know, like I say, that I've been looking into a lot of these things for a long time. A lot of the people I talk to have no idea what half the terms are that we use. So when we do these vidcasts, I like to kind of throw a bone to those who are like, what the hell are they talking about?
Mhm.
Yeah, so really the process that I'm talking about is one of those ongoing and continuing work processes, right? It's not a thing that we do one day where we sit down and we meditate and we take ourselves inside and we create this inner event whereby we are thinking about the future that we are creating. We are thinking about our highest timeline as if it's taking place right now and calling up all of the emotions that we feel in that timeline, the accomplishments, the release of whatever it was that's no longer serving us right now that we're releasing and bringing in. What we're creating is that future event when it's cohesive, when the coherence is there between heart and mind and inspired action. Because if you wake up from that event and you feel the same as you did before you sat down, you haven't created any change.
Mhm.
So at the I was going to say at the nuts and bolts, the nuts and bolts of it really and truly are that continued work. Yeah.
I think when you're in a space where that gets a little overwhelming or confusing, and this happens, I would say, along the whole thing. This is not just necessarily beginner phase, but in the kindness to yourself, when that overwhelm is there and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing all these mirrors and I must be this and I must be that. And, you can get kind of a little bit manic over it, or, or you can hit some depression. if you can look at the feedback or look at what's going on as feedback and say, what is the feedback? What am I receiving here? Or what am I noticing here? That kind of steps out of, oh my gosh, I this, I that. And so that kind of de-escalates some of the worries as the, as this feedback does and the creation does start coming to you, because it happens. This is the way we are as energetic beings. Stephanie's given really some, like amazing instructions on how to really even get yourself centered and begin in that process. And it's going to work. That's the thing. It's not like you're going to go, well, I tried. It's going to start working, and you're going to start getting feedback. And sometimes in a space of, wow, I'm getting this feedback and I'm not too sure, and I'm really excited, but I'm not, all of that. Just looking at it as, what am I noticing here? So that you can kind of get more balanced again, and you don't feel like your ship's getting thrown all over the place. And then you can actually engage in the things that seem to be pulling at you the most. That's kind of that. I believe that's more of a sovereign way to approach it, and it is a refining way. It's kind of a really nice teacher that, and then you can actually figure out some other questions that you can ask a mentor, that you can ask a colleague or an associate, or look up or whatever. As we're, as you're moving along in the space and in the place that you're at. So, well, we have about 8 minutes left. Steph, I would love for you to share with us what is coming up for you. What do we get to look forward to with you and Eden Sanctuary?
So much, so much. Right now, we are stepping into the winter season. As I mentioned earlier, not this weekend, but next, we have a breathe immersion taking place, and we'll be hosting a workshop during that breathe immersion for anyone who is catching this transmission and you are local to me or willing to travel. I invite you. It's going to be highly transformative, deeply connecting, and such a beautiful time together with Mother Earth. So for winter, we have some new things coming that will involve the snow, of course, the snow and breath work and yoga. A lot of that is still in its production phase. And next spring, we're going to be hosting a rather large event that will call in spiritual and creative vendors, as well as us creating the space here on the property for workshops and classes during this event, as well as a longer immersion as well. So it's going to be like something for everyone. The kind of spring event when things come back to life, where people can come and camp in the campsites and on the trails and walk the grounds and be part of this community that will take place for a short while here, as we have vendors and teachers and leaders come in to share their mission and their medicine here at Eden as well. So we're looking for that spring event to take place sometime the beginning of May, before the bugs start to do what they do. And I'm super excited about that. I'd also like to share about a new container that I am currently launching and inviting into for the season of winter. This is a time when I really feel called to bring people into deep connection with soul and recalibration as we come through the winter months when things seem barren and stark, and we're really called to go inside and do that deep inner work. I am crafting a high-level container for advanced spiritual intuitives and creatives to bring ease and joy to the process of birthing their mission and medicine. This is going to be a process that takes place over 5 months, and it will start with an in-person immersion with me. It's a hybrid container. It's both in-person and online. So it's going to begin with an in-person deep dive with me, an immersive experience with me one-on-one, after which we will spend 4.5 months together online in deep one-on-one connection and coaching as you birth your medicine and your mission, bringing it really into tangible form, into a service that you are comfortable, and maybe even not all the way, because it's a little bit of fun when you're a little uncomfortable. We bring that mission and medicine to the planet in a way that feels good and feels alive for you. And then bring the entire group from the quantum vault into a group immersion at the end of our time together, where we are all celebrating our massive quantum leaps and the way that we have stepped forward into service and brought our medicine into full tangible service to the collective. We're going to get together and we're going to leapfrog ourselves at the end of this experience together and really punctuate that process and that journey by stepping even more deeply into our gifts and vision casting what's possible at the end of all of this. What new person are you? What new medicine do you have to deliver? What is your next big vision? So I'm really excited for the quantum vault. You'll be seeing more from me on this. This is the first announcement of this quantum container and the launch of this program. And I'm very excited to be sharing it here. So thank you for allowing me that platform and opportunity. And thank you, ladies, for all of the beautiful questions and the opportunity to share my mission here on the planet and what it is that I'm doing here, the work that I'm bringing forward and assisting others in bringing forward as well.
Thank you so much. I'm just delighted that we had time to spend with you today and have this showcase and this focus here. So many beautiful nuggets and a lot of other information that we can actually just, know. Melissa, do you have anything else that you would like to add?
Oh, everything went kind of fuzzy there for a second. I don't know if you guys are still online.
Before
Oh, there we go. All right, everything's back now. Thank you, first of all, both of you ladies, for putting this on and joining me today, because I know it's hard to get together on Wednesdays at noon. And Stephanie, even just spending time with you virtually, it's just such a joy. I love the conversations with you, and Asia, you as well. You ladies offer such insight on things that my brain doesn't even go there. Like, it doesn't even feel like I have those options until you guys say stuff and I'm like, oh, duh, obviously that makes sense. It's so many aha moments. I love it so much. And kind of giving us a deep dive on how Eden Sanctuary works and what you really have to offer is just fantastic. Thank you so much for this today.
Thank you. Stephanie, thank you so much for everything. Just so everyone knows, she did say she'll be putting links below. She'll come back in here so that you have a way to find that. You're going to be able to find her also if you want to follow her on Facebook. Anything else, Steph? Do you want to drop any information here before we say goodbye?
Stay the path, stay the course. The continued connection to spirit is imperative in the work that you do. And if you're watching this today, it stands to reason that you have a powerful mission on the planet and a beautiful purpose, and you're being called into deeper embodiment. So follow those breadcrumbs, listen to this, pay attention to the way spirit speaks to you. I love you.
That's a beautiful way to end. You guys have such a beautiful day. Let that carry you. Thanks again for joining us on Where's Your Focus today.
Thanks.